This video was recorded on February 1st, 2024. In this video, I'm going to focus on the DNA in this murder cover-up of Desirae Hall, young mother of 5 children, found dead at Hampton Park in Greensboro, North Carolina on November 14, 2019. Once again, you see that playground in the back area, courtesy of WFMY Channel 2 in Greensboro. All right, moving on. Back to this incident report, because the playground is the location. Okay, it's right there in the report. The time, just to recap, is at 10:14 on 11/14/2019, 10:14 a.m. Okay, in the morning. Okay, although he don't list 10 a.m., it says 10:14. And what's odd is the last known secure was at 3 o'clock in the morning, 0300 hours, 0300 hours. Okay, that's interesting. It don't say AM or PM. That's interesting. But moving on, this paper was filed on 11/15/2019. Okay, we already know that Greensboro police officers moved Desirae's body from that playground over 1,000 feet and got her body in the gravel lot area. Okay, there it is right there. Upon arrival, officers located a black female subject deceased inside of her vehicle. Okay, parked in the gravel lot. Okay, and this is 10 months. This paper dated 10 months after the homicide, September 24th, 2020. Okay, so they moved her body. Okay, here's the drawing, the bogus drawing by Reynolds, the forensic specialist. There's the John Hancock. See that date, November 14, 2019. This is supposed to be Desiree's car right here, and that's supposed to be the Chick-fil-A cup to allegedly place my son in his gravel lot area. Okay, there it is, listed on this paper, and we're gonna get to how they framed him. This Chick-fil-A cup item right here that they claim that they found in the gravel lot area after they moved the body from the playground, they claim that they submitted it to the North Carolina State Crime Lab on 12/12/2019. Okay, 12/12/2019. It's item number 3. Okay, this DNA sample, the lab item number 3. Watch this. They didn't submit it on the 12th. Remember that date. I know this because this paper right here is a request for examination of physical evidence, okay, submitted to the North Carolina State Crime Lab, and it's in submission 1. You see SUB 1 at the very top right there, okay? You see right here to the right, the Chick-fil-A cup right there, Chick-fil-A cup. There it is, unknown DNA sample from the Chick-fil-A cup. You see how they wrote in 12/12/2019? The date on the paper says 12/9/2019. They slipped up. Okay, so they submitted before then. All of these items were submitted before the 12th. They're lying. All of them, okay, were submitted before then. Okay, they got caught red-handed. Look at that. Watch this. There it is right there, the items. Unknown DNA samples, unknown DNA samples, from the Food Lion drink can, the Texas Roadhouse fork, plastic fork. You see that? It's the same day, 12/12. Submission date. Okay, submitted to the North Carolina State Crime Lab on that day. Submission date. You're lying. You're lying because, like I said before, all those items are on this paper already. They were already submitted before then. They got caught red-handed. Okay, moving on. The cigarette butts supposedly submitted in this case on to the North Carolina State Crime Lab on 12/31. Okay, for whatever reason, those cigarette butts, they crossed out on this paper right here. That was found in the ashtray. Okay, just go across. Here it is right there. Cigarette butts. They on this paper too. Okay, so you lying about all of this. You did not submit those cigarette butts to the North Carolina State Crime Lab on 12/31/2019. This is how Josh Stein get down, him and his people at the North Carolina Crime Lab. Here's a enlarged image. You can see better. Cigarette butts, they are on there. They own this paper right there. Okay, everything is on here. See that? Everything. And then they wrote it in. No. Back to that. Moving on. I made my point. The North Carolina State Crime Lab, according to the quality manager, you see right here, the policy and procedure for evidence submissions, North Carolina State Crime Laboratory issued by the quality control manager. They weren't even supposed to accept the items. Cases in which a standard needed for comparison is not submitted at the time of intake should not be accepted, okay, by evidence control. They took it anyway, okay. This report I showed in the previous video where Greensboro Detective Thomas Godwin had told on himself, where he said, look, we already know the victim was known to sit in her car with Austin or with the suspect and smoke marijuana. He knew that. Smoke marijuana and sometimes eat and drink. So they knew where to look for. They knew. Like they was watching. How could you know that? You know, a creepy butt. Okay, moving on. Look what he said. Look how he closed it out. The suspects, talking about my son, DNA standard cannot be collected at this time. Why? The suspect is unaware he is a suspect and it would jeopardize the case. Why? Why at this time? Ain't there something? He said this to Laura Weiss, Thomas Godwin, okay? Laura Weiss tested it anyway, all right? On June 18, 2020, all right? Without a known sample from my son, okay? Item 3, that Chick-fil-A cup. Trying to get my focus back. Item 3, the Chick-fil-A cup, okay? You flip it on the back. This is June 18th. Follow me now. You flip it on the back and see what it showed. Item 3 from this Chick-fil-A cup. The DNA profile obtained from the DNA sample. That's the wrong one. Go up above. The DNA profile obtained from the DNA sample from the Chick-fil-A cup. Item 3 is being interpreted as a mixture of two. Okay? Of two contributors. The major profile matches the DNA profile obtained from Desirae Hall. And the minor profile is from an unknown contributor, okay? Watch this. This item 3 right here, the Greensboro police framed my son, supposedly this mixture with this Chick-fil-A cup. They basically said he drunk behind Desirae from the Chick-fil-A cup and then placed the cup in a gravel lot outside her car. It don't match. On every line, the stringency is false. Right, Josh Stein? The modest stringency is false. Right, Avery Crump? The Guilford County District Attorney. Required to match. Right, Greensboro police officers? They knew this. My son's attorney knew this and hid all this. The jury never saw this. False. On every single line that it was required to match. And they knew this. And they do this to my son anyway. How many other people have you did this to, Attorney General Josh Stein? The very next month, Sharon Hinton, a longtime employee at the North Carolina State Crime Lab, claimed she got this hit to my son to this Chick-fil-A cup. You see this? Upon a routine search. Wait, it wasn't there at first. How it appeared up the next month? Okay, in July, the North Carolina State Crime Lab, she said a modest stringency match occurred between the minor DNA profile obtained from the DNA sample from the Chick-fil-A cup, okay, item 3, and contained within the North Carolina State Crime Lab database identified as belonging to my son, Austin Jackson. You're lying. You're lying. And I'm going to prove why you're lying, because you didn't get Austin's DNA sample at that crime lab until months later, until September. That's the reason why when you flip this second report on the back, you running. Sharon Hinton, you, Josh Stein, all of y'all. That's why it's rescinded. You take it back. How'd you know to link that to my son without having his known DNA sample? You got caught red-handed, like everybody else. Got a history of doing this, okay? There it is right there. Based on above mentioned facts, I believe probable cause exists to obtain a known DNA sample from my son. Okay. It says right here, it would either would aid in excluding or excluding him as a suspect in the murder of Desirae Hall, and it's dated that day. They didn't even have a sample until that day. I just showed you guys that date, September 24th, 2020. I was in North Carolina. You see this right here? 9/24/2020. I was arrested. And here's the reason why. Because I called 911, misuse of 911. Davidson County deputies took my son at gunpoint without producing a warrant. I was taken to Davidson County Detention Center, and Davidson County deputies illegally transported my son across the county line into Forsyth County. Ain't that something? On the same day, 9/24/2020. Ain't that something? There's my son's mug shot on that day. There's my mug shot on the same day in two different county jails. I'm in Davidson, he in Forsyth. Forsyth officials held my son, and they called Greensboro homicide detective Adam Lee Snyder and tipped him off that we got him in custody. This judge, Robert Stewart Albright, the same judge who issued the bond in this case, the same judge who didn't want to preside over this trial, watch this. He signed a DNA search warrant on 9/24/2020, the same day. Okay. Detective Snyder shows up at the Forsyth County Jail. The person to be searched in custody, sorry about the focus, at the Forsyth Jail is my son. Okay. And then they take my son's DNA. Ain't that something? Snyder showed up, Detective Snyder. That's how they got his DNA. It was taken unlawfully, and Josh Stein knew it. Everybody knew it. The prosecutors, everybody knew it. Okay. And that's how they got his DNA on that day. Watch this. So after they get his DNA sample on 9/24 in September 24th of 2020, a week later, they sent that DNA sample to Josh Stein people on October 1st, 2020. Ain't this something? Now they got a known DNA sample from my son. So you see how it's linked together? A week later, they sent it up to Raleigh, to Josh Stein people. That's how they get down. He wanted my son bad. When you flip it on the back, and by the way, you see that date? December 3rd. Okay. And then they come back with this. The DNA sample profile obtained from the DNA sample from the Chick-fil-A cup is being interpreted as a mixture of two contributors. Sorry about the focus. I'm going to do this video. The DNA profile obtained from Austin Jackson is now included as a possible connection. Yeah, because look what y'all did. Look how y'all did together. The whole process took almost a year. Ain't that something? Look at the hypothesis. Number one, the evidence originated from Austin Jackson and an unknown female. They didn't say Desirae. Number two, the evidence originated from two unknown. You supposed to say it's mixed with my son and Desirae. You didn't say that. You testified to that, but your reports don't show that. Laura Weiss, you see that? The DNA mixture profile obtained from DNA sample, from the Chick-fil-A cup. She never mentioned at any point that it was mixed with Desiree's and my son. She wouldn't say that. She didn't have the guts to say it. Look here, people. The North Carolina State Crime Lab got a history of doing this to people. In 2010, it was a massive scandal at that crime lab in North Carolina that made national news, okay? The feds even stepped to them, okay? You see right there. North Carolina State Crime Lab buried blood evidence, okay? North Carolina corrupted crime lab. You see right here, this, it affected literally hundreds of cases, distorted or withheld evidence in hundreds of cases. You see that? Citing an article about sorry about the focus, 2010 audit of the North Carolina State Crime Lab Bureau of Investigations, the crime lab. The ad claims under Cooper, who's the current governor right now, he was the attorney general at the time, distorted or withheld evidence in hundreds of cases, leading to wrongful convictions and criminals going unpunished. And that's exactly what's happening now in 2024. They're going unpunished. They're getting away with it because ain't nobody doing nothing about it. But I'm hoping that this case touch somebody step forward that has a justice reform program going, and Innocence Project going, anything that help get wrongfully convicted people out, because this happens a lot. But this time they happen to get caught. I'm going to show you something about Josh Stein, something else about him. You don't got the guts. You didn't have the guts to even test the bullets that was pulled from our body. You sent them out of state to South Carolina. This autopsy dated 11/18/2019 shows all these bullets that was recovered, deformed bullets recovered and so forth that were recovered. So 2019, instead you wait over a year and you sent it to South Carolina to the Richland County Sheriff Department. How come your crime lab, firearms department didn't want to mess with this case with the bullets? You see the date on there? It's 2020. It's November 2020. And it's signed after her author over a year later, 11/24/2020. You didn't have the guts to do it. Calling you out before the nation. Ain't nobody going to step away from you. I'm stepping to you. Attorney General Johnson, you shouldn't have did it. You shouldn't have touched this case. You had no business touching this case. You running for governor. One can only imagine what you're going to do if you take the office of governor. I'm hoping, like I said before in the previous video, that the North Carolina General Assembly step in and remove you from office. Okay, you got to go. And I'm hoping that other cases be reviewed, that your office up there in North Raleigh prosecuted. And it is specifically these analysts that worked on these cases. I'm hoping that their cases now be reviewed and a hearing is held on this. Judge Stein wanted this conviction so bad against my son, he got a judge out of retirement. No judge in Guilford County wanted to touch this case. The DA didn't touch this case. He got Judge Vance Long from Randolph County to preside over this case, and he let some of my son's rap videos come in. The snippets, highly prejudicial to my son, had nothing to do with the case. Get the transcript, okay? You want to contact me? Once again, that's my contact information. Anybody want to reach out to my son there at Central Prison, that's his contact information. All they need is an innocence project, somebody to step to him. He just got overwhelming evidence, So Judge Stein, you, as far as I'm concerned, you disgrace the office of Attorney General. I caught you red-handed. I showed undisputable evidence in both of these videos, and you knew this. And going to try to help the Greensboro police officers out that's involved in this. So I'm here, like I say, if you want to come see me, whatever going to happen, I don't care about none of that. I'm almost 60 years of age, so I'm coming down the whole stretch of my life. I got to do this now in the moment. I got one granddaughter, and long after I'm gone, she going to ask my son one day, Daddy, when I was a little girl and the police did this to you, what did my papa do? And I want him to tell her, your papa stepped to him, okay? Thank you very much for watching this video, and all praises to the Most High God.